Okay, back to Ezra. We're at chapter 9, verse 1 through chapter 9, verse 7. This, I put a title on it. The title should be The Holocaust of the Wives. That's what this part of the story is about, or this story within the book of Ezra is about. The Holocaust of the Wives. Now when these things were done, the princes came to me, saying, The people of Israel and the priests and the Levites have not separated themselves from the people of the lands, according to their abominations, even of the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, the Jebusites, and the Ammonites, and the Moabites, and the Egyptians, and the Amorites. For they have taken of their daughters for themselves and of their sons, so that the holy seed have mingled themselves with the people of those lands. Yea, the hand of the princes and rulers hath been chief in this trespass. And when I heard this thing, I rent my garment and my mantle, and plucked off the hair of my head and of my beard, and sat down astoned. Then were assembled unto me every one that trembled at the words of Elohim, which is the bull deity that leads the spirit to make chaos. Read that again. Then were assembled unto me everyone that trembled at the words of the Elohim, the bull deity that leads spirit to make chaos, of Israel, which means to make consume person's head. This is actually telling you about this, about, these people were trembling at the bull deity that leads spirit to make chaos. And it was at the place of brainwashing to make consume person's head, and it was working. Because of the transgression of those that have been carried away, and I sat astoned until the evening sacrifice. And at the evening sacrifice I arose up from my heaviness, and having rent my garment and my mantle, I fell upon my knees, and spread out my hands unto the Lord, Yahweh, which is the work spirit, the capture spirit, my God, which is the bull deity that leads spirit to make chaos, and said to the bull deity that leads to make chaos, I am ashamed and blush to lift up my face thee, my God, the bull deity that leads to make chaos. For our iniquities are increased over our head, and our trespasses grown up unto the heavens. Since the days of our fathers we have been in a great trespass unto this day, and for our iniquities we have our kings, our priests, been delivered into the hands of the kings of the lands, to the sword, to captivity, into a spoil and a confusion of face, as it is this day. Ezra 10:1 through 10:14. Now when Ezra, the watch cut off person's head, had prayed, and when he had confessed, weeping and casting himself down before the house of Elohim, the bull deity that leads spirit to make chaos, there assembled unto him out of Israel, which is the work to consume the person's head, which is brainwashing, a very great congregation of men and women and children, for the people wept very sore. And Shechaniah, the son of Jehiel, one of the sons of Elam, answered and said unto Ezra, the watch cut off person's head, We have trespassed against our Elohim, the bull deity that leads spirit to make chaos, and have taken strange wives. Strange means activity to cover a person's work. Wives is associated and would be a holocaust of females, a holocaust of wives. They had tried to, okay, we'll get this straight again. They used an activity to cover a person's work, and they did so by use of holocaust, by the killing of their wives, of the people of the land. Yet now there is hope in Israel, the making consume person's head message, the brainwashing concerning this thing. Okay? This thing is the activity to cover a person's work, and is a holocaust of females, a holocaust of wives, to cover up what it was that they did. Now therefore let us make a covenant with our God, the bull deity leads spirit to make chaos, to put them away, to condemn. Oh, I'm going to back up a minute. I just remembered there's a person that I watch her videos, Vera747, and she had done a video where it's shown how when the people of these gods, when they went to another land and they captured women, strange wives, we'll call them, which suits this strange wife activity, that one of the first things they did was they raped them, and after they raped them, that made that woman their wife. They did such thing as shave their heads bald and made them walk around in public, all to embarrass and shame them, and that's the way that they work. So I think it's fair to say that having that knowledge, that that's the way that they treated strange wives or women from another land, that all this association makes more sense, that these people that had raped these women, and that's how they became their wives, and to the activity to cover the person's work, they committed Holocaust on them. Or they were going to, as the story goes on. Ezra 10:3. Now therefore let us make a covenant with our God, the bull deity that leads spirit to make chaos, to put away, which means to condemn, all of the wives, and such as are born of them, according to the counsel of my Lord, which is the bull deity pathway to life's work, and of those that tremble at the commandment of our God, the bull deity that leads spirit to make chaos. Let it be done according to the law. Arise, for this matter belongeth unto thee. We also will be with thee of good courage, and do it. Then arose Ezra, the watch cut off person's head, and made the chief, the priest, which is the Kohen, to cover the revealing activity, the Levites, which is the tongue capture work, and all Israel, which is the work to consume person's head messenger, to swear that they should do according to this word, and they swear. Does that make sense to you, what's going on? That the strange wives, the women that were raped by the Israelis and taken as wives, that Holocaust was and had to be done to them, and they wanted to do it according to the law. They wanted to feel that they were legal about what they were doing with their current wives. Because as we know, these people took multiple wives. So when we say wives, we're not just talking about this group, the wives that they have today. We're also talking about the wives that they had already taken. And I don't remember the scripture off the top of my head, but as Vera 747 mentioned, and it's written on how these people would take these wives from another land, and it was through rape, and then they did things to embarrass them and shame them. And they're now in this book discussing how it is that they cover up what it is that they did. Ezra 10:6. Then Ezra, the watcher cut off person's head, rose up from before the house of Elohim, the bull deity that leads spirit to make chaos, and went into the chamber of Johanan, the son of Eliashib. And when he came hither, he did eat no bread nor drink water, for he mourned because of the transgression of them that had been carried away. And they made proclamation throughout Judah and Jerusalem unto all the children of the captivity, that they should gather themselves together unto Jerusalem, and that whatsoever would not come within 3 days, according to the counsel of the princes and the elders, all his substance should be forfeited, and himself separated from the congregation of those that had been carried away. Then all the men of Judah and Benjamin gathered themselves together unto Jerusalem within 3 days. It was the 9th month, and the 20th day of the month, and all of the people sat in the street of the house of Elohim, which is the bull deity that leads spirit to make chaos, trembling because of this matter, and for the great rain. The rain means the pit that feeds chaos. And Ezra, the watch cut off person's head, the priest, the Kohen, to cover the revealing activity, stood up and said unto them, Ye have transgressed and have taken strange, the activity to cover the person's work, wives, which is associated with the Holocaust of females. So they had an activity to cover their work, and they killed females, to increase their trespass, which is a sin offering of Israel. Now therefore make confession unto the Lord God of your fathers, and do his pleasure, and separate yourselves from the people of the land, and from the strange wives, the activity to cover the person's work, and the wives associated with the Holocaust of the females. Then all the congregation answered and said with a loud voice, As thou hast said, so must we do. But the people many, and it is time of much rain, the pit that feeds chaos. And we are not able to stand without neither in this a work of one day or two, for we are many and have transgressed in this thing. Now let our rulers of all the congregation stand, and let all them which have taken strange wives, the activity to cover the person's work, and is associated with the Holocaust of females in our cities, come at appointed times, and with them the elders of every city, and the judges thereof, until the fierce wrath of our God, the Elohim, the bull deity that leads spirit to make chaos, for this matter to be turned from us. Now we could look at this in different ways. That what they're talking about is what the people did, that they did an activity to cover the person's work, which became known as strange, and the wives, which is also associated with the Holocaust of wives, where there was one name, one title, and that title was associated with a wife or the burnt offering sacrifice and the Holocaust of a wife. So it could be one or the other. So for a person to figure out what it is that's actually being written about here, they have to read through the whole thing. And by reading through the whole thing, is what's being told these people that they have to stop doing this activity to cover the person's work in the Holocaust of the females? Is that what they're telling them? Because it could mean that, but it doesn't. As the story goes on, it shows what the meaning is. Ezra 10:16 and 10:19. And the children of the captivity did so, and Ezra, the watch cut off person's head, the priest, the Kohen, to cover the revealing activity, with certain chief of the fathers after the house of their fathers, and all of them by their names were separated, and sat down in the first day of the 10th month to examine the matter, and they made an end with all the men that had taken strange wives, by the first day of the first month, and among the sons of the priests, which are the Kohen, to cover the revealing activity. There were found that they had taken strange wives, namely of the sons of Yeshua, and of Josadak, and his brother Messiah, and Eliza, and Jerib, and Gedaliah. And they gave their hands that they would condemn their wives through Holocaust. And being guilty, they offered a ram, which is a mighty man, a bull deity work messenger, from the flock, which is the congregation of men, for a sin offering. There you have it. That's the story of Ezra, who is to watch cut off person's head. We learned a lot by looking back into the language of what really took place. Now, it's a pretty vague thing to talk about strange wives, put them away. And there's a reason why those vague terminologies were used, was so that the Kohen could do his work. The cover, where's the Kohen? There's the Kohen. The Kohen was doing his work to cover the revealing activity. That was the work of the Kohen, just like the scribe was to turn the speech. And that's what they did. They hid what it was that they were doing. The people of shame hid what it was that they were doing. Even though if you know how to read what it was and you know their culture, you could figure out what it was that really happened. After all, there was even an entire book dedicated for this in order to explain to people what had happened. And the people that can read it or could read it decided to be priests about it and cover up the revealing activity as scribes and turn the speech. So anyhow, there it is. There's Ezra, the cut-off person, the Ezrael, the watch cut-off person's head messenger. And the book of Ezra confirms it.